Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instructions on completing the task at hand. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to replace a fuel pump in this 2003 Toyota Matrix XR or something like that. It is showing symptoms of a fuel pump failing. I told him to watch a video I have linked in the comments here about failing fuel pumps. Common over 175,000 miles for fuel pumps to go out, or they go weak before they go out. So we're going to replace this fuel pump. Another guy had a video online that was pretty decent. I'll just do my own thing here. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is open up the hood, pull this lever here, pop the hood open, support it, disconnect your negative battery cable. That just makes sure you don't short nothing out. That thing is tight. Here's a release for it. Pop the hood, come under there, do that, lift the hood up. Then you got this thing here to support. Hold that in place, keep your hood open. Now you loosen that right there. Looks like a 10 millimeter. It is a 10 millimeter. Loosen it up a little bit. Wiggle it off. Stow it so it can't connect itself. Take the fuel cap loose and off so that there's no pressure in the tank. That would cause some leaking when you disconnect the fuel line. The good thing about this job is that you don't have to drop the tank or nothing like that. You can access the fuel pump under this rear seat. It's a split seat, so we're going to take a couple of bolts loose from it, fold it up out of the way, hold it up with a seat belt strap, and then access the fuel pump. To access the fuel pump you got to take the driver's side split seat up. You got a 14 millimeter there, 14 millimeter over there. You take them two up, and this seat will fold up and out of the way, and you should see your access panel for your fuel pump under that. So you lift the seat up, hold it up with the seat belt, then you lift this panel up, which it looks like somebody's already opened up this panel here. Now you got two connectors there. You push down on the tab and you massage the connector out. That thing is actually loose on top of the pump. Now, I'm not sure if that's a problem. Then you pull this tab and unplug this. Seeing how this panel's up, that makes me think that somebody was either in here troubleshooting something, or they may have replaced the fuel pump in here, but I don't see any scars on the screws. So maybe they were just testing this pressure switch. May have replaced that thing. Came up relatively easy. Just got to push on this tab, and sometimes you can hear it click. It rocks a little bit and unlatches. And on this one, you push the back of this down and it'll unlatch, and you massage it out. So that's out of the way. Now you want to vacuum up any dirt you got around here, because you don't want any dirt falling in the fuel tank when you get this up. And these are Phillips screws, or you can use 8 millimeter socket set to get those up. I'm gonna use an 8 millimeter ratchet socket set. When you're taking these screws out, be careful, because when you lift the tool up, the screws fall on the tank and they may roll away. I had one roll away, now I gotta find it. Get all the screws out. I got this bracket here that fits on top of that. Now I have a fuel line there that needs to be disconnected. This piece slides forward and out of here. Some people say you squeeze those tabs in to get that worked out, but it shouldn't be that difficult. Just slide this forward and you should be able to unplug the fuel line. You probably do that before you get all of the screws out. So take the screws out around the top, leave these 4 in, disconnect the fuel line, then take these other 4 out. That'll hold this down so you can get this fuel line out. I put the screwdriver here and kind of walk this out. Pull this yellow clip all the way out of the way, and then I massage this line up and out. Since this pump was not totally dead, it still had some fuel pressure on it, so it squirted out a little bit. Be aware of that. I'm surprised all this much is coming out of here, so we're gonna have to take it off and wait till it stops running. Once you got the line off, move it out of the way. Look to see the orientation of this. You got this thing on top of the sending unit there. You got a screw there. This is keyed, what they call keyed. So take that up, set that out of the way. Now gently pull this up. It'll have a gasket in there. Your float's in there too, and you don't want to damage your float. So kind of work this up and out gently. And as you can see, the sock is dark colored, so it's probably original. Look like we got about a half a tank of gas in there. Let that drip in there and then take it out, because we got to take the unit apart to replace the pump, filter, and the sock. Look in the tank, there's just a couple things floating around in there. A little bit of dirt. Now you could suck that stuff up if you want. Look like there's a tick in there. Anyway, this is stuff that gets past your fuel pumps, and sometimes that goes through your fuel filler hole when you're not watching. This is what you call a fuel pump sending unit. This has got to be taken apart so you can replace the pump and the filter. This is the pump we have here. I'm going to show you that. It would not be a bad idea to put 12 volts of power on your fuel pump to test it. Make sure it works fine. It is not uncommon for a brand new fuel pump to be bad. You got some hoses and clamps and things. You got the actual fuel pump. This is a Denso, which is a good brand. And then usually these have a sock in them. I do not see a sock in here, so we'll probably have to reuse this sock. And then the fuel filter is here. It's a part of the unit here. So this is the fuel filter, which is part of the sending unit. Next thing we're going to do is separate the top of the sending unit from the filter in the bottom part. It's got a tab there, a tab there, a tab there, a tab there. We also want to unplug this before you separate this so you don't damage any wires. So I push that in, I got to unplug it. There that is, unplugged. This unit's a little softer than I expected. It's flexible, so I pried this corner loose, put a little up pressure on it, separating it, and I went all the way around. When I got all 4 of them loose, it didn't just come apart, because this plugs into that, and it had kind of a tight fit, so I had to slowly pry that apart to get this to separate. Now I need to take loose that wire harness from down there. So just push in on that tab there and unplug that from the top of the pump. Next I'm going to take the bottom apart. I got 2 tabs there, a tab here and a tab here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should take the bottom of the unit apart, which is the filter housing. And this stuff is yellow. That lets you know it's old. They all start out white. As they age, they yellow. I got all 5 of those clips pried apart. Now that is loose. Now I should be able to slide this pump out of here and try to disconnect this sock, because the replacement pump did not come with a sock. And I might be able to clean this stuff off the sock. This is the stuff the pump picks up inside the tank before it goes into the pump, and then the fuel goes through the filter before it goes to the engine. So you do want a sock on here. It protects the pump. This rubber piece comes off of the bottom of the pump. It kind of is like a vibration dampener for the stuff on the bottom of the pump. Now I'm gonna see if this pump will push out of here. Yep, it pushed out of there. It has a gasket in there, so you don't want to lose none of that stuff there. Look like that cracked. Hopefully there's one in the new pump assembly. And it's got this rubber O-ring that helps it stay in the fuel filter. And it's got this little thing here. So you got three things on top of this pump. It goes into this filter housing. So this stuff on this filter housing has to be transferred onto this filter housing. This sock is on with this clip. We do have a new one of those clips in there. So I'm gonna put a screwdriver under there, pry that clip off. That'll let the sock come off. We do have another piece that goes on top of the pump like that. This is that. We do have one of these, which is nice. We got to transfer all this stuff over to this. So let's take this apart. First thing we want to do is unclip this sending unit and clip it into there. Then we're going to pull this pipe out of here. If it's got any gaskets in there that's in our fuel pump kit, we'll transfer that over. Nothing else came in this fuel filter box, so we got to carefully transfer everything over. This is a little bit of a Chinese jigsaw puzzle, I call it. But if you look at your new fuel filter, it has this little clip on it here. And it has these channels in it there. What you want to do over here is you want to slide a screwdriver in under there. You want to push on this tab, push this tab down, and then slide this unit down and it'll unsnap from there. So you put a screwdriver in there, you push this down, which makes that move. When you get that pushed down, you grab the unit and you pull it this way down toward the bottom of the unit, and it'll come out of these channels and let you remove it. So there it is. You see those channels there? Now you want to put this over here in that channel, push a little pressure on it, don't mess up your little sensor there, and slide that forward till you hear it click and lock in place. So I'm gonna do that. There it goes. You heard it click. That is now locked in place on the new filter. Next, take this out the bottom of the filter, move this stuff over there. I'm just going to pry it out with a screwdriver till it slides out. Put it in there. Next, you want to take your pump. You want to slide this on top of it. Push that all the way down. Then you want to take your rubber O-ring. Push that on top of that. Then you take this white cap here and put it on top of that. This here in your pump. If you don't have this stuff, reuse the old stuff. That white cap, it popped on, but it had to have some force on it to get it to pop on. Now this pump could be pushed back up in that unit, and make sure this gasket goes up in the filter housing where it'll lock into that hole up there. And make sure you don't pinch that rubber gasket going in there. So you may want to wet it with water or fuel or oil, but you don't want to pinch it going up in that unit. You see it going in there like that. You can see the gasket in there. You want to push it all the way till it stops. Hold that clip off of the sock. Now I could lift this sock off of here. That's going to take two hands, something to pry it with. Got to be careful getting the sock off. You got to pry under the sock in between that ring, prying that ring and the sock up to get it off of there. You don't want to break it. Now that your sock is off, you want to brush any dirt off of it with like a toothbrush or something like that. Clean it up if you don't have a new one, and then press it on your new fuel pump. Take this dust cap off, press that on there, and then put the new ring out of your little kit on there to hold this in place. You might have to do that with like a 7mm socket or something. Push that on there so it won't fall off. I got this silver thing, which may be some kind of pressure regulator in here. I got the pump and the sock on here. I got the sending unit that measures the amount of gas you got clipped on here. I got the pump pushed up in there. with the gasket not pinched, I am ready to put the top on it, put the bottom on it, and put this rubber gasket in place so that we can put this back in the car. Before you snap that bottom piece in place, put that rubber thing on the bottom of the pump right there, like that. Now put that over there and snap it in place. Before you put all this together, you want to make sure the old pump and the new pump has the same polarity. You see that plus right there? That's the positive. You want to make sure you got that plus on the new pump as well, which it does. So the polarity is correct. I'm going to pull this over here, plug it in. Be careful about that O-ring. I might want to wet or lubricate that so that it slides in right, or put some kind of oil or petroleum jelly on it. Slide it in place so that it snaps in. I took the bottom, snapped it on. Make sure you got that little filter there for your little pressure regulator thing, whatever that piece is. But we got the sock on it. Just got to snap the top on. You want to wet or lubricate that. When you go to put this housing in, it seems like it's too tight. Just squeeze this old housing down in there and it'll be fine. Just make sure you don't pinch that gasket there. Wet it or lubricate it with some kind of oil. I wrote the date on there that this pump was replaced. I'm ready to drop it in. Be careful when you put it in there that you don't get this position wrong. Remember how it was keyed and put it back together. Be careful you don't drop any screws down on there. I lost one, so I'm gonna have to replace it. As you lower this in the tank, the sending unit and the sock goes toward the back of the tank. You can see the cutout in the tank for it. Be careful, make sure you set it down all the way, because there's a rubber gasket that stops it from letting fumes through here. You want to check the key on it, make sure it's keyed right, twist it in the proper rotation. I got it keyed right, I got all the screw holes lined up right. Now I'm ready to put the screws back in there and make my connections. All the screws are in. Let me say this, mechanics, DIY people's #1 mistake is tightening things down too tight. These are little teeny screws. There's a gasket under there that just needs to be pressed down a little bit. Snug those screws down, don't tighten them down. These are not lug nuts, they're little screws. If you strip them out, then you will have less pressure in that area. Snug them down, give them a little wrist tweak, leave it at that. That should be it. Now I'm gonna make these 2 connections. Press this back over there if you want to get some tack, kind of a roofing gasket sealer stuff to press down on there to stop dirt from getting in here. You can do that, but this just gets pressed in place. So make these connections, try to make it here click. Now when you start the car, hook up the battery, put the key in there, turn the key in the run position, listen for the fuel pump. If you hear the fuel pump run, it'll run for 3 to 5 seconds, then it'll stop because the car is not running. Turn the key off. You want to do that 3 or 5 times to pressurize the fuel system before you try to start the car. Push that down in there. Hear the click. When you push this one in, you want to hold this sensor, because the sensor is down in this pump assembly. Hold the sensor till you hear it click. Now you can set this over top of it, but we're going to start the car first. Let us hook up the battery and then put the key in the ignition. It's going to turn the key on. I do not hear the pump, so he's going to bump the starter. Just bump the starter. Still didn't hear the pump. It may be super quiet. Let's try one more time. Bump the starter again. All right, stop. All right, I heard the pump run that time. Hit the starter again. Let it run for like 2-3 seconds. Now I hear the pump running. Now the pump cut off. All right, do it again. There it goes. It's running now. It stopped again. All right, try it again. There it is. It's running now. We're going to test drive the car, see if this cures the problem that he had, and go from there. It's got a fresh filter, which had to pressurize and fill up with fuel. Got a brand new pump. Should be good to go. Now the cover's in place properly. Lay that back over there. Make sure you clean up all your stuff under here. Lay your seats down. Put your 14mm bolts in. If you want to torque those, they're 14mm. I'd probably torque them to maybe 35 foot-pounds. And then you'll be all done. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.